we haven't talked to you since that first game. How did that feel?
Well, it wasn't too long ago.
Yeah.
Felt good, man. I thought for a preseason game, the energy was there. I'm not sure if it's usual for the Madison or not, but for me, it felt a little special because, it felt like there was a special energy. Hopefully, the fans are excited about the season. And I thought our game was good, was interesting. We've made mistakes, obviously, but I thought for a first game it was really interesting the way we play together, the way we shot the ball, and the way we kind of translate what we did in practice. So it was positive overall, for sure.
That's what I wanted to ask you with two new starters, you and Kemba. How are you guys kind of assimilating with Randall and RJ, starting
Well, basketball is basketball. So, like I've been, in this league for 10 years now as a shooting guard. So, you understand spacing, you understand the pace of the game, you understand how to play with guys. And as far as just Kemba and I really playing well with those guys, it's about really those details. Like, for example, to talk about myself, I think I'm going to have to be really precise about the two-man game with Julius because, usually when you have a four that's on top of the key, he gonna take the ball and just swing it and go to the weak side pick and roll or dribble handle. But he's really good, so he can drive, he can pass, he can shoot. So I'm gonna have to read him to not bring my defender in his space. So those are just details that takes a little bit of time, but those are things that we work on in practice. So I actually can't wait to get on the court with those guys again to keep building habits.
Are those the little things that you learn kind of as you go? Because like you might have had a different notion of those guys as an opponent compared to as.
No, for sure. And how can I say that? But like as a player, we have tendencies. And we're all different. And you learn that by being with them on the court. It's not just watching film. You have to get a feel for that. Like I have to get a feel for, okay, I'm gonna come off the DHO at that at that timing for Julius to be free. Because if I go too soon, I'm gonna bring my defender. If I go too late, I'm not gonna be open. Stuff like that, and that really happens on the court.
So the narrative is with you and Kemba joining the team, you guys are going to be a better offensive team, but with replacing Reggie Bullock and Elvin Payne, you guys are going to take a step back defensively. Is that fair? Do you think you're underrated as a defender?
I think I'm a good defender for sure. I mean, you can talk to Coach Cliff about it. There's no doubt in my mind. And I think defensively, the number one thing is knowing knowing the job and competing. I consider myself a guy that competes really hard. So I'm not concerned about the defense at all. And even as a unit, we're going to be good defensively. No doubt about that.
What was your mindset facing a Thibodeau coach team in the past, and how is that different now that you're on this side of that?
Well, what's different is that I'm doing the running now. But facing Tibbs, it was always, like I said many times, it was always playing a team that's very disciplined, that won't beat themselves because they don't make mistakes. You're going to have to beat them. So nights where they don't necessarily make shots, they can still win because they're always in the game with their defense and with their discipline. And hopefully we can beat that team again this year.
Now that you've seen it firsthand, I mean, there are a lot of teams that are disciplined and a lot of coaches who kind of push that discipline, but I'm sure they all convey that message in different ways, right?
Yep.
How does he get you guys to buy in so effectively?
I think he's exceptional in the work ethic that he installs in practice with like the spirit. So we all tired, like we're all working really hard, but he somehow makes it fun. He knows when to fuck around, joke, smile, and bring a good and positive attitude. And he knows when to, be tough, make sure we go harder, make sure we understand what he wants from us. And he really demands us to give everything we have on each drill. And when he senses that, not we're going through the motion, but we're not necessarily getting after it. Like we're going hard, but not we're going after it. That's when he kind of stop and either ask us to do it again or just you know talk to us and make sure we go you know harder.
Yeah. Sorry, man.
Tibbs will like to use guards as screeners and pick and rolls and that kind of stuff. What does that do in your experience? You're guarding the back end of a pick and roll instead of the front. Is that uncomfortable for a guard considering it's not kind of a usual thing you have to do?
To be honest, as an offensive player, I haven't done a whole lot of that. There's only so many teams that do it. You know, I'm right now just the back of my mind is Miami that runs a lot of actions for Tyler Hero or Duncan Robinson that sets a bunch of flares. But honestly, there aren't a bunch of teams doing that. So if it's going to be the case, then I'm going to have to you know work on it. But for sure, it's a position that we aren't used to being for sure.
You guys, the league has switched up basketballs this year to Spalding. I mean, from Spalding to Wilson. You're used to the FIBA switching up to the FIBA ball and stuff like that. But is there an adjustment when you use a new ball? Is it any different?
FIBA is actually not a really good example because the balls are so different. It's really you go from total different ball. This year I was actually surprised because I was expecting the ball to be like the prototype we had last year was terrible. I thought it wasn't the same at all. But honestly, now they definitely changed it, and it feels the same. It really does.
So they gave you a prototype last year to basically just practice with.
Yeah, just to you know.
The same as the one they gave you.
No, because we basically had to give them some feedback, and obviously it wasn't good. Like I remember the Wilson was so big and so thick, you could feel the difference in the ball, and you know as a shooter, it takes you know a lot of space, obviously. So it wasn't comfortable. So they definitely changed that.
All right.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Evan.